y'all. Welcome back to Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist, your not so typical self-help podcast for high responsibility helpers who are tired of pretending they are fine. I'm your host, Shawna Lovin, a seasoned therapist, Texas LPC supervisor, 3-5 emotional projector, and a total tree-hugging auntie rebel who believes healing can be natural. Of course, with compassion and a little cussing. If you're watching on YouTube, listening in your car, hiding in the bathroom at work, or staring at your ceiling at 2 a.m., baby, I already know what kind of week you're having. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's dive in. One Saturday evening, I'm having dinner with my mom friends, and one of them kind of asked, how was I doing? It was one of those questions where it was like, no, how are you really doing? Not the grocery store version that you get. It's more the real one. You know what I'm talking about in the grocery store. You run past someone and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? I'm good. How are you? Yes. And it seems like sort of fake, but like I didn't really connect with you. Yeah. She wasn't looking for that version. She was looking for something very different. And all of a sudden, I felt that in my body, deep in my sternum. And I was like, oh, shit. She really means that she wants to know how's it really going. And before I even had a thought, my mouth was already moving. I'm okay. I'm good. Maybe a little tired. You know how it is. Oh, I'm tired of the bullshit at work. Yeah, any of those. But the whole sentence ended with, oh, didn't you have surgery? How did that go? How's your recovery? Well, that was the smooth and very instant transition. She took that bait because that's usually what happens. You're so good at changing the subject. The conversation moved on, and I didn't think anything more about that until I was sitting in my driveway. And then I started thinking, like, wait a minute, did I just do that thing again? I didn't even catch it this time. What just happened? And you're kind of replaying the conversation in your head. That's the part that got me the most. It was not the deflection of all of it. It's something, yes, I could have done that years ago and have been doing it for years, but it was really the speed of it. There was no decision making anywhere. There was no moment to weigh, do I actually tell the truth of what I'm really feeling and thinking, or do I just redirect like I normally do? No decisions in that. My body just responded. It's the same way that you put your hand on a hot stove and all of a sudden you pull it back real quick because you know that, oh shit, my hand is burning. It's the same thing. The thing is that the training that we do makes you brilliant at sitting in someone else's mess. But it's also the same training that makes you physically incapable of sitting in your own shit and being witness in that. It's not a character flaw. It's really just the architect of how we are designed as helpers. Every rep where we make space for others is also a rep where we don't take up space for ourselves. And the only way that changes is that our nervous system has to become fluent in us. Because at this point, your nervous system is fluent in giving and half receiving. The other thing that happens is as helpers, it's not that we don't want to ask for help. It's just that when it's handed to us, it's usually free, no strings attached. And some part of us don't really trust that. What you kind of start questioning, like, what do they want? Or what am I going to owe them later? We've been in a safe space for everyone else for so long that being safe for ourselves just feels illegal. there's some kind of grief behind all of that. It's kind of quiet. It's the kind that only shows up kind of in your body with tightness in your throat. And maybe some part of you is just thinking like in the moment, is this really it? I don't know. We might have to question that. Your body knows the difference between performing fine, being fine, I am fine, even when your mouth is still running all these old scripts. Getting asked, how are you really, can actually register as a threat for some of us when your whole survival strategy has been built on staying useful, staying one step ahead of everyone else, and clocking how everyone else is doing instead of yourself. So the redirect wasn't about asking how her surgery was going, wasn't really rude. It really was just my body bracing. It was dressing up some level of generosity. It was creating a fast exit before the vulnerability could like settle in or even speak with vulnerability. So I'm sitting in the driveway a little bit longer than I normally do, and I'm running this through my head because that's what we do. We freaking ruminate all the daggone time and are just in our head. And I wanted to be honest, like, I didn't want to just like fix this. I wanted to kind of understand like what was actually happening. And so probably the deflecting something small in scale, and I'm doing it all the time without even noticing it. But that was the first time that I actually noticed and I felt the gap between what she was really offering and what I actually let myself take. She was offering like this whole thing, right? Being vulnerable, living life, the whole thing. And I actually just handed it back to her, wrapped up in some kind of curiosity about her own stuff that's going on. Yeah, didn't think anything of it. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you the way to fix this is just to let more people in. Because that ain't it. That sounds like some broken ass advice that sounds true, but doesn't absolutely do nothing and help you. What actually moves the needle is something much smaller and stranger than that. It's more like catching yourself and your thoughts that half second before the redirect happens. It's not about stopping it. It's about witnessing it. And it's like, here we are again. Without punishing yourself, it's just like have the thought, say what you're going to say. However, if you put in enough reps about noticing it and catching it, at some point, you're going to meet yourself at that halfway point and you can choose to say something different and you can choose to respond differently. Not because you're stronger, but because your system finally has the proof it needs that's being seen ain't going to kill you. So if you've been looking at your human design chart, you already know that you've got some places that is built for sense, absorbing, and responding to what's around you. That is not a flaw. That is your own personal wiring. When you spend years, and I mean years, running that wiring towards someone else and never towards yourself, you end up so fluent in other people's frequency and half fluent in your own, that is not broken. Our frequency is how our energy moves. It moves within us and the world around us. So understanding your own energy and frequency becomes super important on how you move forward. This is also connected to how your capacity is built for connection. And when you always are building that capacity outwardly and never inwardly, you lose sight of what your actual energy and frequency and what it's doing. So here's the ask that I'm going to kind of throw out there. The breakthrough actually didn't happen at that dinner table that night. It's something that the next time you feel that flicker, that right before your mouth just starts running off and turns the question back around on somebody else, it's the point of you just noticing that. That's the whole thing. That's it. Most of us, the real work actually happens later anyway, kind of when you're more in your quiet and you can hear your full thoughts. And of course, we're ruminating in our head. Like I said, you understand what you did and what you didn't do, what you could have done differently. Please tell me I am not the only one. But that's where the real work happens. So I'm going to say, if you felt any of this in your body and you want to understand more about yourself, that is exactly why I have the Messy Middle Blueprint. This is your human design nervous system reading and a full personal capacity plan for people like us who cannot self-care their way out of overfunctioning. I hope you understand that. What happens is you get a private reading or a debrief, as I like to call it, where it maps out your actual energy leaks and it's specific to shifts that you can make in the next 30 days without burning your whole damn life down. This isn't therapy. It's not a checklist. It's just a plan that I wish somebody had handed me before I hit my wall. If you want your own Messy Middle Blueprint, the link is in the show notes. There's no pressure. When you're ready, it will be here. All right, my loves, that's another episode in the books, and I'm out. Now, I need you to go drink some water, touch some grass, get a sip of sunlight, take a pause, and stop acting like your nervous system is optional. And yes, you are basically a houseplant with complicated emotions. If you needed this today, tell me about it, tell me what landed, hit follow, and send this to the I'm fine friend who is absolutely not fine, and you know who I'm talking about. And if you want to work with me, everything you need is linked in the show notes because Auntie doesn't do energy sucking DMs. Okay, love you. Bye.